Okay, so you remember yesterday we talked about Jonah. We met Jonah. And remember how he disobeyed God and he jumped into a ship to go very far, far, far away from Nineveh. And as you can see, the storm came. Remember the storm and how the sailors were throwing the things off so they wouldn't sink. But then Jonah remembered that to get the storm to stop, they would have to throw him into the sea. And we ended with Jonah sinking deep, deep, deep into the sea. So that's where we're going to start today. So Jonah held his breath as he sank deep, deep into the water. And he went down, down, down. And it pressed all around him. So Jonah was almost at the bottom. He couldn't hold his breath anymore, and he was getting so afraid. But God was not finished with Jonah. Even though Jonah had done some very bad things and he disobeyed him and he sinned, God still loved him. So we do bad things too when we disobey our parents by throwing the fit or not sharing our toys with our brothers and sisters. When we sin, God still loves us. He just wants us to ask for forgiveness. So God did not want Jonah to die. God had a plan to rescue Jonah. So God had a great big fish swim closer and closer to the water where Jonah was. The big fish opened his great big mouth and gulp! The great fish swallowed Jonah. Isn't that crazy? So the fish was so big that Jonah was alive inside of him. He sat inside of the fish, in the great fish, and 1 day passed. Then 2 days go by, and Jonah was still inside the fish's belly. Jonah did not have food to eat. So 3 days went along, and Jonah was still inside the great big fish. And he didn't have any water to drink either. Jonah was hungry and he was thirsty, and he realized that he had done some wrong things. While he was in that big fish, Jonah knew what he needed to tell God about the wrong things that he had done. So he prayed and he asked God, he asked him for forgiveness. He said, "I'm sorry, God. I know I've done wrong, and I know you sent this fish to rescue me. Thank you so much for rescuing me." And God heard Jonah's prayers. And even though Jonah was inside the great big fish in the deep, deep sea, we can still talk to God and say thank you to him anywhere, just like Jonah did. And suddenly, God caused a great fish to swim up to the top of the water, and the great fish spit out Jonah from its belly onto the shore, and Jonah was alive. He was on dry land again, and God had rescued Jonah. And that is where we're going to end today. So we need to remember that even though we do wrong, that God still loves us, and he wants us to talk to him and tell him that we're sorry for the things that we've done, and he will forgive us of that. So I will see you tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with Jonah.